Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the Expo exclusive Master Grade Jesta Cannon clear color version. So I would like to just point this out. Number one, Expo exclusive kits and premium Bandai kits are very different things. I would like to point that out. Number two, the box of this kit may look very similar, or as far as I know, it has the same art of the premium Bandai version, but I believe the Expo exclusive version also has a small note written on the bottom, say like limited edition or something like that. Alright, so basically I would like to point out a few things. Number one, you are able to make a regular Master Grade Jesta through this set. Number two, you need to pay a little bit more attention to the manual because you actually have a lot of leftover parts due to the fact that because of the color combination, certain areas require different colors. So if you don't pay attention too much, you might end up with a different color mobile suit like mine. So up to the top section I did it correctly, but when I went to the leg sections I wasn't paying attention to the manual to the point where I kind of messed up the colors on the legs, and taking off these parts were not easy to the point where I decided not to risk anything. Because I personally do not like breaking parts. So yeah, I would like to point that part as well. So okay, so this review may feel a little bit simple because number one, I have reviewed the regular Master Grade Jesta a few years ago, and at this point I think it's been established that the Master Grade Jesta is a very good Master Grade. Anyway, so yeah, let's go over our usual components. So number one, what you get of course is obviously the Master Grade Jesta Cannon itself, and what you see in front of you is basically the clear color version. Now I was really never into the clear color parts, but right now this one looks very good because of the fact that not the gray sections but the light blue sections really show the inside parts very well, and it looks very pretty. So other than the Master Grade Jesta Cannon, what you also get is basically a beam saber hilt. Of course, this is technically more for the regular Jesta, and technically you can still store this in the arms like the regular Jesta, but you have to basically plug it inside the arm first and then cover this up. Of course, if you cover this up, there's no actual way to bring it out. You need to actually separate the parts, so that's one aspect as well. So I just wanted to let you know you do get a beautiful clear beam saber hilt, which means we also get two beam saber effect parts. But if you use the Jesta Cannon, I don't think you'll be using this too often. And then typically we get a action-based connector, and we get the Jesta Cannon's beam rifle, which is basically the base should be the same. It's this base of the regular Jesta beam rifle, but with some more add-ons on the top and the bottom. So we have a more like a grenade launcher going on here, and like in the anime, we can open this section up, which I would assume this is much more something related to, like, you know, controlling the heat or releasing the heat outside or something like that. But definitely it looks more heavy loaded. And then we get a water decal, a water slide sheet. So yeah, we get some numbers and symbols going on, the usual. And then we, despite being a clear color kit, we do get some stickers because not everything is color separated. So just to point out, number one, this goes onto the head, the side camera on the head. And then this one, this orange round one, is actually used on the cannon, not cannon, I mean the beam rifle for the Jesta Cannon going on here. So the sticker is supposed to go on here, but once again I just decided not to use it because to keep in the clear color and consistency. And these four gray ones go onto the one of the cannons that is on the backpack right over here, especially this one to be more specific. Alright, so that's that. Okay. So other than that, here is a extra ammo clips because you get 4 sets. Now technically if you're building the regular Jesta, you would have this on the rifle and then 3 on the arms, like usually on this side of the arm, but since this rifle does not actually require this ends up being a leftover piece. Okay, so we've seen the ones that I actually cut off. So here we have some leftover parts that are still on the plate, so I'm gonna go over them one by one. So let me just grab a few small ones first. Okay, here, let's start with this one. So number one, we get this part, which this orange one is actually the scope for the regular Jesta beam rifle, if I remember correctly. So you get that. So these parts are pretty much that goes onto the legs, I believe. I believe this one's the leg, or it's either that or the feet. But basically, yeah, this is a alternative color because, as I mentioned, you get 2 of the same plates or 2 sets of the same plates because one is like a one should be colored in this light gray color and one should be in this color. So you really, if you want to be a 100% like, you know, accurate to the anime, or like, you know, you really need to pay attention to the manual. So yeah. And here we have some parts for once again, I believe these ones are pretty much repeats, because I believe the grenades or missiles that are on the side skirts and the legs are supposed to be white, but because of the repeat, we get these dark ones, and we get the regular barrel for the just beam rifle, and here is the scope parts. And here we have the I believe these are the regular or original the shoulder parts for the Jesta. And we get some leftover polycaps, nothing too special regarding that. Here we have some parts of the shield. I believe these parts are the parts where the shield, or the grenade or shield, the missile launchers are. So yeah, these parts are for the shield. And then here we have more parts for the shield and the connector going on here. And then let's see, we got this part. Yeah, so this basically, I wasn't paying attention to the manual. So basically, you get another repeat of this plate, but in the light gray color right over there. So at some point I wasn't paying attention to the manual, so I totally just forgot the existence of this and kept using the gray ones, which ended up like looking like this. So it's like the armor is now covering up almost the entire leg and the feet. So yeah, don't make that mistake as me. Just letting you know. So here's another repeat of that. So we have the knee sections, the feet sections, more parts for the legs and sides going on here. And here is the inner frame of the shield. So I'd like to mention, despite this called being the clear version, the inner frames are still just your regular pieces. So yeah, I guess the clear color plastic doesn't really work on inner frames, I guess. Here we have more parts for the shield. Here's for the shield, and then here's for the arm. But because of each arm has a different design, you only use one side of here. Here is more parts for the missiles for the shields, and I believe this is the top body section you use for the regular Jesta. And then here we have the separate yellow piece that goes into the shield as well. So yeah, you are technically able to make the shield. I'll get into that later. And here we have another repeat plate of this one. Basically, that has the shoulder parts for the original. And let's see, well, we get this part as well, which I believe these are all the shield connector related parts as well. And this one is for the beam rifle. And this one, you also get two of the same plates for this one. So you are technically, as far as I know, are technically able to make another beam rifle for the regular Jesta. Of course, the color would not be the same as this, but you would actually have a white version going on here. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. So the manual, before we go on to the articulation, I would like to mention the manual. So the manual, while it is for the Jesta Cannon, they do actually include parts or instructions on if you want to make, well, not exactly 100%, but for example, we have the instructions for the backpack unit for the Jesta Cannon, and then I believe we also have like instructions to make the backpack unit just for the Jesta. So just keep that in mind. Same goes for the rifle for the Jesta Cannon, and then just for the Jesta. Just wanted to point that out. Alright, so let's go over the review. So I'm pretty much not going to do any demonstrations of posing, because I think at this point it's pretty obvious what to do with this. And just to give you a good idea on the color, so as far as I know, the top section is correct. It has been made correctly. Now the only tricky part is the lower sections here. So you can see up to this point it's pretty much correct, but if you look at the feet, by looking at the feet section right over here, they're supposed to be on the darker color side, but I pretty much ended up with the gray colors because I wasn't paying attention to the manual as well. And I believe the inside knee armor parts is supposed to be the same color as the legs, but now once again I used the gray one. So yeah, don't make that mistake. Alright, so let's go over the review. So the head, let's start with the head. Now the clear blue parts are really looking good. I really like what they did with this, and it looks very beautiful. For those who don't have the regular Jesta, you are able to actually put a LED inside the body, and the LED bulb will be facing upwards. You turn it on, and then it will connect to the head, so you can actually see a light up visor. I currently don't have the LED at the moment. Actually, I used to have one, but it's busted, so yeah. Because I left the battery inside there for too long, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what happens if you leave a battery inside such electronics for a long time. Okay, so the head can go down that much, up that much, and 360 twist, I would say possible, but just be careful not to break the antenna. And one of the stickers I mentioned is supposed to go on to this section right over here. I believe it's right over here. You have to put a green sticker. But once again, just to keep the clearness, I just left it there. The shoulders, I believe Gundam Holic also did mention this, is that these are entirely new shoulder parts. You don't actually use the, as far as I know, you don't use the original just shoulders and then put a armor on top of it. You don't do that. You actually have like an inner frame of the shoulder and then you put these armor parts on top. So yeah. Before we go for the articulation on the shoulders, let's look at the backpack, since the backpack is one of the more different aspects going on here. So the way how this works is that you actually have this section that inserts on from the top, and we still have these parts which, if you were building the original, you could have the connectors that goes inside here. So yeah, and this thing is a pretty firm connection, so you don't need to worry about them falling off. And then the cannons itself can go up and down, so it can go face almost pretty much 90 degrees towards, and then about, yeah, you can go up that much. Same goes for the other one, can go forward 90 degrees and then go up that much. They do not spin or anything, so just letting you guys know. So for the shoulder parts, we have a pretty good range of movement. Of course, it's just the shoulder design being a little bit more bulky to the point where it does collide, but still you get a great range of movement going on here. The shoulder itself can move up and down, and the shoulder parts are separated from the arms, so they're not connected to the arms itself, so they are separate pieces. So you can go up and down that much, and then to the side almost 90 degrees, or pretty much 90 degrees going on here, and you have a 360 twist and a nice bend going on here. So here is the arm part. So in this build you might see some nub marks. So this is actually my first, well, technically my second time trying a clear kit, and it's been years since I've tried one, and they're really hard to, the nub marks are very hard to clean off compared to regular plastic. So yeah, if I don't do it correctly, I just usually end up damaging the plastic going on here. So yeah, you might require some extra skills regarding that. The hands are your RG style hands, which means they come in pre-built and they're already like pretty much articulated going on here. Of course, there are some nub marks that you need to deal with going on here. So here is the hand going on here. So these were pre-built. I did not build the hand itself. Technically, it's pre-built, but you need to cut it off from the sprues and then like pretty much fold it up, or basically follow the instructions to the point where you need to make it look correct. So for those who have no experience, this is basically how it looks like in the manual. So they give you a whole hand going on here. They tell you to cut off, do this and that until it looks like a hand going on. So these fingers are pretty well articulated. So you have a ball jointed wrist going on here, and on the hand itself we have this thing going on here where you can pull out. Hopefully I can. Let's try it with this hand, I believe. There we go. So we have this peg system where you can pull out, and then on the weapons itself they also have the same hold and peg system going on here. So let me just get this right out of the way. So what you can do is basically, there we go, on the beam rifle handle you can pull out this peg, and then you can connect this peg to the hole that's in the hand, and the peg that's in the hand can be inserted into the leftover hole on the handle, so you get a firm connection. I don't really remember any other Master Grades doing this other than like the Master Grade 3.0 of the ARC 78, I believe. But yeah, so each finger has a joint going on here, two joints. We have the end tip joint and then another middle joint that goes inside. So if you built the RG kit, I believe you should know how these hands work. So I'm not going to go too deeply inside there. Of course, the ball joints sometimes do pop off, so just be careful. So on this arm we get this big arm guard going on here, and then here we have this arm which contains 3 ammo packs for the regular Jesta beam rifle, but of course you can still have them there. The main body itself, it's pretty good. You do have a decent ab crunch going on here, and then 360 twist not really possible because it's pretty much locked into place in one position. And we have this cockpit which does not open too easily like I remember. So they have this sliding gimmick going on here, and I'm doing my best to pry it open at this point. So I remember on my regular version I had trouble opening the cockpit as well. So yeah, it's a very tricky opening. So let me just show you guys in the manual how it works. So when you build the kit, this is how the cockpit works. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. So you build the cockpit right over here, you open these sections up, and then you close it down like that. It's like a latching system going on here, and it locks into place. So it's actually a firm locking mechanism. So opening it up may not be too easy, or it was never really intended to be easy. So just letting you guys know, I had this problem with my regular Jesta, and I'm still having problems with my still usual. So regarding the body, that's pretty much it. Here are the new parts that you use for the Jesta Cannon. And if we go to the waist, we have the front skirt armor, which still is the same parts, but we get these extra connector parts, so we can attach these armor sections going on here. And then I believe these parts, I'm not sure if I used the correct color, but yes, these are the correct colors. You are technically able to open these, but the missile / grenade launchers are not separated pieces. They're all connected together, so I would like to let you know that. Same goes for the ones that are on the legs. You can technically open these up, but once again, they're not separated. They're all connected together. The front skirts can go a little bit forward, but it's just usually the parts between the body. There's actually like a tube system going on here that's kind of colliding with the front skirts. The side skirts can move a little bit, and then back skirts do also move a little bit as well. So the legs can go less than 90 degrees depending on how you do it, or if you go to the side, kind of 90 degrees like that. Backwards, also pretty much the same depending on how you do it, and we have a nice side swivel going on here as well. Bend wise, you can only bend this much, but this is actually one of the gimmicks. So what you can do is you can extend the leg like that, and then have a much more bend going on here. So I'd like to point that out. And I guess if you extend it, it may look, the moves can look much more taller going on here. And if you don't like that aspect, you can always just pop it back in like that. Alright, and then yeah, that's pretty much it for the legs. We still have these parts, these new armor parts that wraps around the leg, and then the feet are your typical balls between the feet, which we have a very nice pivot going on here. Toe bend wise, I don't think this one actually has a toe bend for yeah, no toe bend, and then we have these nice ankle guards going on here. So moving to the side, almost 90 degrees. It's just the side skirt that's blocking the way. And once again, being clear color pieces, they do a really good job showing the inner frames going on here. And I think that's pretty much it. So the only part that I did not show you guys was that you can pull out the backpack, I believe. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. And then this is where you put the LED inside here. So yeah, I didn't actually expect the main head to come out as well, but yeah. And that's pretty much it for the Masquerade Jesta Cannon, the clear color version from the Expo. So yeah, if you can't find the premium Bandai version of the Masquerade Jesta Cannon, you can, and if you find a decent price for this version of the clear color, I would definitely say go for it, because the color scheme looks much more interesting if you ask me. It's you would think of like the Jesta Cannon does have a much more blackish color, but now this actually shows that it's more of a bluish color going on here. And yeah, I mean, I would assume the premium Bandai Masquerade Jesta Cannon to also give parts to make the regular Jesta. So it's always, so you pretty much end up with a lot of leftover parts. And if you're a person who is into, customizing kits, this would be a very nice treat going on here. The only downside of this kit, if I had to point out, would be the fact that the nub marks are much more hard to clean off. That's one thing I've noticed going on here, and it could be just me. I think it's just the ankles on this is that it feels like kind of unstable sometimes, or it could be just top heavy or something like that. And that's pretty much it. So once again, if you actually have the Masquerade Jesta, you kind of know how much articulation this kit has and how much or what gimmicks this thing has. It's just a matter of like you get more armor parts for the legs, shoulders, arms, and the body. So yeah, there's nothing too different. It's just more stuff that's added on. Anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the Expo exclusive Masquerade Jesta Cannon. Once again, be careful not to make the same mistake as mine. Just be aware of the manual, and you get a lot of leftover parts. This is the Expo exclusive clear version, so don't be confused thinking that this is the premium Bandai version. Anyway, until then, see you guys next time.